Yes. Good morning,
Good morning.
people.
Good
Welcome to
morning.
another edition of Real Talk TV here on AOC Community Media, your source for news and information in a unique kind of way. We kind of freestyle it on this particular show. We're live on AOC Community Media. That's Cox 15 and LUS. You could also watch us on AOCinc.org/watch if you want to chime in. We could be putting up a number in case you want to call in, and we just freestyle it. Now today we have a different type of show. We're gonna deal with, and I put up the topic last night on social media, fratricide and so forth. But it's more than that. It's more than a simple meaning. We have the honored guest, Bro.Kwabena of Clear the Airways project, and we have our local contributor, Brother Keith Falk. And Brother Keith could tell you, I'm not used to hosting these shows. I'm used to behind the scene as a director for our open
Yeah.
line radio show. First of all, I want to say my deepest sympathies go out to Sister Khadijah. She lost her mother on this past weekend, and Sister Khadijah, everybody knows her at AOC Community Media. Everybody knows her as the radio talk show host on 88.3 KIEE, and she's been doing this for a long time. And her and Mr. Kevin, her brother, we appreciate the work they're doing in the community of getting that information out. And again, our deepest sympathy goes out to her. Now, without any further delay, Brother Kwabena, tell us a little bit more about yourself, man.
Well, I'm African, living in the U.S., born in the U.S., a lover of music, born in L.A., went to school for a little while in Louisiana, college in Louisiana, University of Southwest Louisiana, UL now, where I was a DJ also. So I worked at a station out there called Foxy 106 for years. Also worked at KSMB, I forgot to mention that too, which was a top 40 station. I don't know if they're still around, but
Yeah, it's just still around.
it's still around. Yeah. And so lover of music, like most of us, just tremendous lover of music, just been listening, checking out some music. Lately, and a matter of fact, I still do a DJ, a radio show where we do conscious hip hop and classic funk. And I'm also part of the Clear the Airways project, one of the founders of the Clear the Airways project, which is a project dedicated to removing from these radio stations music that demeans and degrades and calls for the shooting and killing of African people. So, I mean, that's what it is, part of what I do.
And brother, one of the things that Brother Keith and I were talking about lately, I know in this area, and we on in the Five Parish area, the headlines led on the local news program. They have a photograph of a 15-year-old in an orange jumpsuit. And the narrative is, if you see this young person, do not hesitate to call law enforcement. He is armed and, well, they didn't say he's armed. He's dangerous. Consider dangerous.
Before we get into
Go ahead,
to that, brother Jay, I also I want to send my condolences out to Sister Khadijah of the Open Line. I want to send my condolences out to the families who are having to experience loss of their loved ones through these violent acts. You know, I want to send my condolences out to them. Um, I want to say here in Lafayette, well, Lafayette Parish has seen 24 murders, and we're not even a month out into the new year, and Lafayette has seen 24 murders already.
Yes. And it's troubling, and it has. And brother, when we talked on, you came down to Lafayette to do the open line radio show, and we talked about, and I one of the things I'm concerned about is culture, is consumption of certain media, and it's also, I mean, it still has a lot to do with your upbringing, but it's still culture. If you have a 11-year-old, maybe younger than that, having headphones on and listening constantly to drill music 24 hours a day. And his mother tells him, and I'm using somebody's example, and I won't tell you who that is as a family member. And they get angry. And because the parents telling them to go empty the garbage, but they want to listen to the drill music, and they start quoting those words to that parent. That's something systemically wrong with our communities in our family structure, Brother Kwabena.
Well, that's why we, when we talked about what we do in terms of a lover of music, I mean, George Clinton just got his Walk of Fame on Friday, and there was a video of him and one of the writers from the song Parliament called Heartbreaker that they were singing. The song came out in like 66 or in the 60s, sometime in the mid 60s. And they were singing the words, him and the writer. So it was really beautiful to see them there. And people, yeah, they remember this. Yeah, you remember that. You remember this music. It goes into your head. When Marlena Shaw passed last week, I remember this song when I was a child. She had called Go Away, Little Boy. Never forget when she talked about let the doorknob hit you, when a dog should have bit you. Instantly came to my head. So this music that we hear repetitively, constantly, it goes into our psyche, and they know it. The powers that be know, and we know it too because we remember these songs from back in the day. It's music, it's culture, as you said. It's the people's way of life, and music plays such an important role in our culture. And if the music that you're hearing all the time drops N-bombs on you, which is the most despicable, disgusting, dehumanizing, dangerous word in the history of English or any other language, it's going to have an effect on you. If the music calls your women folk B's and H's and portrays them all as harlots and sluts, then that's the image you're going to have of your own sisters, and that's how you're going to treat your own sisters. You're not going to want to get with them, to be mates with them. You're going to go to someone else. You may want to get with them physically, and that's it. That's what they put into the psyche of the masses of our people is self-hate, and it's also telling us to kill each other. There's there's 24 already. It's just January 22nd, and 24 people already in Lafayette Parish. That's ridiculous. And so, if that's the case, if you've had over an average of 10,000 plus homicides every year since 2020, why in the hell is the music on the radio that's targeting your children and your youth, telling them to kill each other? Why is that allowed to continue to happen? We are there's the Center for Disease Control, they do the top causes of death, the top 10 causes of death. There's only one group with homicide in the top 10 causes of death, and those are African people in this country. We are the only group with homicide in the top 10 causes of death. And for ages 1 to 44, it is the number one cause of death. Those are the ages you're supposed to be living, right? And, at least 1 to 44, but the number one cause of death in the Black community in the U.S. is homicide. Yet you turn on the radio, again, where that music is, where the songs are telling us to hate each other, to hate our women. Our women get a W. We all get called N's. They get called N's, B's, dots, whatever. And then you're getting told to kill each other, to shoot and kill each other on the radio. I ain't got nowhere to go. I didn't shot up everywhere they was.
And it's pretty dominant in the Black community, especially from the age bracket anywhere from 15, well, probably a little younger than that, probably 10, 11 years old to 30. They're listening to the music and thinking these artists are actually living what they're saying, and they go out and do it. I had a young man tell me, I'm gonna get rich or die trying, and I said, that's a 50 Cent movie, man. That's a movie. That's not actual life. That's a movie. You thinking 50 Cent really got it by dying trying? You think he would have still been here today?
That album came out 21 years ago, or 20 years ago. The album came out. That was just, I think, debut album, may have been his debut album. Get Rich or Die Trying. How old was this youngster?
About maybe 19.
Came out before he was born.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And that's what they push, and that's what they pump. I mean, like, so no, 50 Cent is like TV shows, and what are they showing them TV shows?
Oh,
a lot of killing and murder.
don't start talking about the video games because it's Grand Theft Auto. It's outrageous. Um the video games is about killing, robbing, but what our culture don't fail to believe is that the industry, the corporations, the adversaries, they keep it in rotation and they're feeding it to our children through video games, the music industry, the movies. They're feeding it through those avenues. And just like to these folks that saying, "Oh, the beats are good. I like the music. I just don't like the violence." I want to go to these church folks. You know, these the community dignitaries. You criticize advocates and activists for spelling it out like it is. But if you look at the spiritual side, when you put on a gospel song and and that gospel song really starts to touch your spirit, you're gonna move to it. It's gonna move you. So on the other side, you got to look at the satanic acts. Um, the music they pushing, if it's about busting head, if it's about leaving niggas stretched out in the street, excuse my language, um stretched out in the street, what you what you think that music will program the culture to do?
Uh, Brother Key, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Oh, let's say we lay the blame at one particular entity, but it's multiple entities. It took
Correct.
generations for us to get into this position. When we first, when the community, when we came out of slavery, got here in America, it has always been external forces, culture driving uh, what people do, people habits, people uh, customs, and so forth. And let's say go to modern day communications. Communications is one form of influence on communities. And I'm going, you know where I'm going with this. The overall influence of popular culture, society, media, and I want to talk more focus on media since we're in media, whether we
And since
professionals or amateurs in media, and Brother Kwabena been in media, so forth.
and,
The
and
influence,
since and since you brought that up, I want to spell this out and I want to put this up. We have a politician, a dignitary within the Lafayette community right now,
mhm,
a current councilman sits up on a network or media corporation and criticize activists for spelling it out the way it's supposed to be or the way it goes, criticize activists, but won't walk up to that corporate media's director and tell him, take this music off the air, don't degrade my people. But you gonna sit on that network and degrade other leaders that are trying to spell out the problem in our community, but you won't degrade that guy that directs the network for which you on.
yeah, yeah, and that's why I was getting to. For instance, we have in this area, Cumulus Media owns a zillion station. I'm pretty sure Brother Kwabena would agree. I call it a zillion. I mean, how much media is media? And Cumulus has a couple of stations in the Lafayette area and the South Louisiana area, and a lot of that music, whether even if it's so supposedly censored or radio airplay, it's still the same. It's still the same thing. It's still the same. It's coming out the same way. It's still being consumed the same way. And we have to identify these media operations, and Cumulus is not the only one. I mean, you got YouTube. For instance, I was telling you, Brother Keith, about the blogger, a British a Caucasian guy, and he's making tons of money. He's right now the big story about Big Juke and Paperboy Route, young Dolph Labor. And I like the young Dolph at first when I started digging into his background. I'd say, did he really have to do it that way? And that back and forth that went on between them, and that blog has been promoting that for the longest, making tons of money. How many bloggers are doing that? DJ Academics, I'm gonna call his name. He's one. He gets angry when people start calling him out on stuff. He promotes a lot of that back and forth. A lot of these bloggers, a lot of these shows, talk shows that deals with that, who's warring against each other. That is part of it. It's nothing about putting down that whatever proverbial weapon of hate. It's nothing about that. It's more about keeping the back and forth going. And that's the norm now. Everybody want to log in and listen to the blogger. When Big Juke got killed last weekend, everybody I wanted to get into the story. It's
And
addictive. And that's
and I,
part of the psyche that we have. That's what we consume. That is much more important than Trump saying he want to give immunity to police officers, rogue cops, and rogue presidents. That's more. What's going on with Big Juke is more important than that.
and then I want to go. I want to go a little deeper, brother James. Um, social media, the social media platforms. You know, it's ridiculous of what these influencers are doing on social media, to like the TikTok. Tik, Tik, they got a video on TikTok that'll show your child how to dismantle the gun, put it back together, how to shoot it, and also not just how to shoot it, how to hang him or herself, how to commit suicide. These social media influencers are doing it, but they're doing it joking, but not thinking that somebody or somebody's kid actually follow that and actually do it in real life.
Mhm.
And I think that's what it relates back to, putting out these narratives and pushing these narratives, and they're not doing it in real life, but these youngsters, teenagers, young adults are taking it like it's happening in real life.
But we can let Brother Kwabena chime in. He heard a lot from
Mm.
both sides of us.
Well, I'm thinking about these numbers, and we mentioned earlier about the crazy numbers of homicides that's been occurring every year since this decade started, and even really before then. But I mean, it is utterly ridiculous how many people are being shot and killed, and even with the rappers. In 2000, there were 2020 rather, there were 200 rappers who died. In 2021, it was 250. Of the 250, 200 died from gun violence. And again, those are just the rappers. It's fortunately it went down a little bit this past for 2 years, but it's still too many. That's who tell that to the people whose relatives who've been in this rap game have been killed, like you said, brother Big Jerk, and so many others who die playing these fratricidal games that they rap about. But then what about the everyday people, like you said, my brother, who are influenced by this crap? It used to be a time where you had a lot more rappers like Boss from back in the day, who was no sort of gangster, but wore the gangster hats and rapped the gangster stuff. But was not a gangster. I think even Ice Cube lived in the suburbs or whatever back in the day, but still rapped
Mhm.
all this madness. But nowadays, a lot of these rappers are
They're living it.
they are living it, and then but so many
Mhm.
others are living it, and it's just really sad. I remember growing up in L.A. when you had I would say like 10 out of my 10 homeboys, um, 4 of them would try to be hard. Maybe 3 or 4 would try to be hard, and maybe one or two were hard, you know. Then I remember, like I said, it's about 20 some years ago. Now, if you take 10 of them, it's like 9 out of 10 of them trying to be hard, and still 2 of them are really hard.
Mhm.
But I think because so much, even more of this social media influence in this music, I think even it's gone up from 2, probably 5. 5 are hard, or you know, I've got that hardcore mentality and hardcore. I don't give a f about anything because again, that's what's been portrayed and pushed in the music. And when we talk about these, I always go back to the music. That's the thing that we're dealing with is music with the Clear Airways project. The people will say it's more than music. It's the video games. It's this. This what's happening at these other spots. But the thing that's always in there, whether it be the video games or other stuff that we're watching on TikTok or social media, the music is pretty much always included. The music
But
is included.
um, when you sit down and look at it on these on these streets, on these streets, they're hard. They're hard on these streets, but when they when they do something that make a life changing decision for them, and I'm not talking about these rappers. I'm just talking about the everyday normal young adults and teenagers that are doing it. When they do something that make a life changing decision for them, then they ain't so hard when they going through the system.
Oh no, look at what Young Slug is going through right now, and it's a trip. You know, sometimes I get these rappers these nicknames, and when we present and talk about that, people get mad at me. But you know, it's okay. I always come back with they drop in bombs on us, and it ain't nothing worse than that. No nickname I give them is worse than them dropping in bombs on the masses of our people. But I would call Young Thug Young Slug for a while, and then when they get indicted, it's Slime Life. So I'm like, wow, and I didn't know that until I saw the indictment. Really, that's what the name of their crew is, Slime Life. But you just see him and see their crew and how they're pretty much. I mean, there's some incidents they've been having in court, but they're pretty much humble right now with this. And you know, there was a piece on ABC News this past weekend where these brothers made this documentary about these prosecutors using their lyrics against them in these courtrooms.
Yeah,
And I'm like, and they tripping on that. I'm like, what? I mean, what y'all are doing with this music? I mean, what you all are doing right now in terms of trying to stop prosecutors from using lyrics that they're self-snitching. My brother Scotty Reed from Black Talk Media Project said when they used to make mixtapes, he said now they're making confession tapes. My brother Bernard Creamer, who wrote the book Who Stole the Soul, The Weaponization of Hip Hop, it says instead of all these rappers and these people fighting for the prosecutors not to use their lyrics against them when they go to court, how about stop writing lyrics and performing lyrics and rapping lyrics about killing your people? How about
correct,
that? Can you just do
correct,
that?
correct. Hey, and the thing of it is, we already we already have the war against the white supremacists and the MAGA crowd. Uh, we already have the war against them. So instead of instead of killing one another, what if we all come together and and stop having hatred for one another? What if we all come together and go against these white supremacists, the white supremacists acts, the laws? Because when we kill one, and we have to start teaching that, especially our old school activist dignitaries have to start. They don't want to touch on it. Um, that's the conversation they don't want to open up. They want to continue having the same old um march for justice conversation. Let's open up on the conversation of the system getting 2 for 1 or 3 for 1 or 4 for 1. Cause when one of ours kill another one, that's one gone, one dead. That's one less that the government have to worry about.
Also, you got
And
a cycle of violence because you got revenge. Revenge is the number one thing
and the
in these
revenge.
lives. All these bloggers are perpetrating all of this stuff that's going on like it's some kind of, it's essential that you have to get back. You know, you have to get, you know, you have to drop a bag on that person. All of these terminologies that we adopt is gangsters.
Correct. Correct.
That's really on the evil side, and that's the norm. To name, everybody got a name named after a gangster. Everything got to be negative. Everything got to be almost like we're living hell. We living in hell, and we're among Satan. Everything is about negative stuff. So I want to ask Brother Kwabena now, Brother Key, before you go in, what do you see as a road to some type of solution? Because like again, I say it could take generations. You know, what do you see?
Well, I don't think it's going to take generations. I think we can actually put a stop to this music that's been inundating the masses of our people tomorrow. We just need to organize properly, and we just need not everybody, but a critical mass of us to put a stop to it. And so, for instance, I just think about the sororities and the fraternities at these HBCUs, of which last year there were so many shootings at these HBCUs. You know, they had to cancel concerts, homecoming concerts at Morgan State. Then Bowie State, come on, bring y'all come to our homecoming down here. You go down to Bowie State, 2 more people get shot. But then you got Sexy Red scheduled to perform at the concert, and the baby, you know, people who rap about shooting up people. Then the same thing at Southern University, my alma mater. When I was at Southern homecoming of 2022, I think it was, they had Nardo Wick, Frito Bang, City Girls, and that was a concert for homecoming. And if you ever get a chance to check out the song "Who Wants Smoke," I think that's the name of it, from Nardo Wick. Check out that song, the video of it. It's about straight up about shooting and killing, mass shootings. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And right after the concert, right across the street at my frat house, there's a party and 11 people get shot. And what do they do this year? They bring Sexy Red and who else they did? Young Sleazy. They call him Young Jeezy. We call him Young Sleazy. Bring him to the Clark Center, to the venue to perform a concert. And this is happening. So if these sororities and these fraternities, they say, no, we're not dancing. This girl said, we're not dancing no more to y'all calling us bees. Sexy Red, we know Ski Yee, which Rolling Stone puts as the rap song of the year, and the so-called 50th anniversary of hip hop, which is a bunch of crap anyway. And I didn't speak too much on that because that anniversary is over with. But you got her as having a best song of the year, Ski Yee, which is in the system, even though what she promotes is crazy. And this is a personal thing, and other people may feel the same way, but she can't rap a lick. She's horrible. And Ski Yee is another disrespectful, self-hating, kill black people song. They rap about shooting and killing black people in that song too, that Rolling Stone said was the best hip hop song of the year 2023, which football teams and all around the country come out to and dance to. She was invited to Penn State. And again, these HBCUs, if we got our sororities and fraternities to say no, just like they did sorority girls, they got that taken off the air. If the AKAs would say no, you're not using Ski Yee as a take on Ski Wee. If my fraternity stopped strolling to Lil Boozy rapping about shooting somebody if they step on his foot, or instead of 3 brands of condoms, I'm gonna put a gun barrel, sodomize one of my sisters with a gun barrel. That's in the song "Wipe Me Down" that they stroll to all the time, undergrads and alumni. If you get rid of that crap, then we can make a difference. But we got to wake up and understand that those are the things we must do. If we get on the Grammys, here we are, the Grammys, who for several years have been under fire by groups like CMOTAP, which is a committee to eliminate media offensive to African people, like Hood Research out of Detroit, like the National Congress of Black Women out of based in DC, but all around the country. They've been sending letters and checking the Grammys for years for pushing this poison, pornographic, violent music and rewarding and awarding it. And so this year they got scheduled to reward NWA with a Lifetime Achievement Award for what? For what? They are the ideological, like my brother Diallo says, they are the ideological fathers to what we got going on right now, NWA. Right. And you're going to give them a Lifetime Achievement Award?
Mm-hmm. Well,
here's Martin Mason Jr. You know better.
I heard a blogger, like I said, again, I'm going to repeat this. He said, man, a Caucasian blogger, and he's pretty big in what he does and promotes. He does documentary on all of this stuff that's going on. And he said, I like the music. I just don't like the violence. How can you not? How can you like the music and it's still promoting the same violence that you say you don't like?
They come together.
Yeah.
Can't separate them. Can't separate them. And so my Truth Minister Paul Scott, who's been in this battle for a while, back since the 90s, maybe, yeah. But he really came down hard. I think in the latest issue of Final Call, he's getting on the Grammys for nominating, and he reminded me of the song. And I got the album because again, been in the music a long time. This album from NWA, where they had a song on there called "She Swallowed It." She swallowed it. If you can't, I can't share pretty much none of the lyrics right now on the show, but just imagine what it says and look up the lyrics to the song. They are talking about gang raping a preacher's daughter that's 14 years old in the song, and you're gonna give them a lifetime achievement award. You know, check out the song with Easy rapping about waiting for some people to leave. I got another trick up my sleeve. Step it with pep to the back of the house. Look in, all the lights are out. He's breaking in your house, and you're gonna give them a lifetime achievement award. And the lyrics are still in my head. You know, still in my head.
Brother Kwabena and Brother Key, those who say, well, you know what, it's, you know, we got a saying down south, 6 one way, half a dozen other way. What about the movies that promote violence? What about the other media that promote a lot of negative things? You know, the kill them up, shoot them up movies, and back in the days, the cowboy. The thing I tell people, this is not the same. You don't constantly sit with a movie screen from birth to death on your face on the top. If you have youngsters sitting with headphones, having tablets and phones, putting out music, and music has a much more detrimental or positive effect than any other consumption of any type of media than anything else. I tell them, look at that first before you start talking about the other stuff.
And look, brother, I'm gonna say this. Until our producers, our mix and masters, until they start saying we we're not producing nothing, we're not mixing nothing that goes against our culture or degrades our culture, we're just stuck with the same problem. And then the industry, the corporation, it all lines up together because it works with the system. Uh, from the justice system to from the justice system to the hospitals to the morgues, they everybody gets a piece of the financial pie.
Look,
Because
the Undertaker, like I was somebody sharing this old Edwin Starr song about war. He said it benefits the Undertaker. Yeah.
Because when like you were saying about the group, Slum Life, they kill one, send him, or maybe kill 4 or 5, send that 4 or 5 to the morgue. The Undertaker makes money. The justice system, you already know, they going behind some bars, jail bars. They're going in a cell, and they probably gonna be there for about the next 20, 30 years. So they make the prison system making money off of the taxpayers.
And that's
Then
what they got, Brother Keith, because a lot, they're, what do you call it? The rate which they catch the people that are doing the killing. And when it's black people killing black people, they don't really go after them that much.
correct.
So that's if they get caught. But you're right. When you mentioned how they get, I don't know if you finished the point, but how they get 4 or 5. Because again, if they get caught, the one person, 2, 3 people they didn't kill or shot up, that's lame, and then they get caught too. They're out of the system. They're out of the pool for our sisters to be with sisters, to be raising these young brothers and protecting these daughters and stuff. They're out of that system.
Correct.
So that's how it relates to the family and how it messes up the family. And brother Jay, in terms of the movies, I mean, you hit that on the head, and we talk about that a lot. I'm not right now. I'm not watching the movie. I'll monitor the station this morning. I just turned my radio on right before we came on here to hear what the Ratchet Kill Black People radio station in Chicago was playing. So, but that's on all the time. I can't just go to the movies and sit and watch a 2-hour movie with that madness. And even though it does have an influence, and we know but this music is constant, it's nonstop, and they don't stop with the music.
Yeah, and the important thing won't be missed upon all this whole conversation. The influence this has on the psyche of our young people, from the newborn to the full adult. And we see, and I was, it's interesting. And I go back, and I'm old school, right? And I go back to studying about this whole thing about what happened in Memphis with Big Juke. And here somebody was saying, well, he's 50 years old. When is enough of that lifestyle enough?
See,
When is enough for an adult, fully formed, his brain is fully formed? When is enough of that type of lifestyle, living that kind of life? And that's the influence of how powerful this culture, this music is.
and I'm gonna say this, brother Jay. This man gotta be about 65, close to 70 years old. Him and his grandson was out in front of club talking, and I'm talking with some of my partners, and the night before they had killed somebody, and this man be about 65 start telling his grandson, I don't care who they is, if they play with you, you do the same thing too. 65 years old, telling that to his grandson, you do the same thing too.
Yeah.
So you giving him the approval. So some of the parents are part of the problem too. Um, you go in grocery stores, you go to parties, graduations, celebrations, and 4 and 5 years old, they don't know they don't know how to pronounce words, but they can curse you out though. They don't know how to say the ABCs from A to Z, but they can curse you out.
Did you see the video recently? I know our brother D1 out of New Orleans shared it, and with the little girls about 5 years old, they're like hands on your knees or drop it to your knees or whatever. This is the Drake
Mhm.
song. Sexy Red, Unsexy Red got all the blame, but it's a Drake song with SZA. And it's a horrible song. And they got the little girls at that age dancing to it. And got one girl got a mic, so she's rapping on the mic to the song. And it's so pervasive. And when you talk about our minds fully developing till we get to about 25 years old, but some of them, like I said, a lot of our youth today whose minds are getting developed by this madness, once they reach
Correct.
25, it's in there. So when they become 30 and 40 and 50, that madness is still in there. That's
Hey,
why you got a lot of these older rappers still pushing this madness today. I mean, I
hey,
remember Jay-Z said, I think it was him who said 30 is the new 20. I mean, Chuck
mhm.
Diggers started, well, if you 30, be a grown man. No, don't be no 20-year-old still with your mind developing. When you 30, act like you 30.
Hey,
So, yeah.
and I'm gonna say this, brother J, brother Carbonine. If right now, if you live to see the age of 25, right now in the black lifespan, if you live to see the age of 25, you have become an OG in the lifespan. You live old enough to get that to make it over that hump. That's the lifespan of an African American male right now,
That
25 years old.
that's come on, Keith, but that's sad, and we can't we can't like act like that's the norm because it's not. A lot of us will
Nah,
say it's not. I mean, if you make it to 25, it's not without going to jail, without being killed. I understand what you're saying. We understand. We got to get out of that mindset. And I know
correct.
it gets tough when all the music is telling you this is what it should be. But again, so many of those rappers that they're still playing are well over 25, 35, some 45, still pushing this ratchet narrative. And
And,
so, I mean, I even mentioned those stats that come from the Center from Disease Control, which does lead some credence to what you're saying. That out of the top 10 causes of homicide, and I'll mention them again because it needs to be mentioned again. The top 10 causes of homicide, there's only one group out of all the groups that they take this measure from, one so-called race of people, is African people in this country where homicide is in the top. I said top 10 reasons for homicide, top 10 causes of death. You know, health, all reasons. We're the only one with homicide in our top 10. And again, from ages 1 to 44, it is number 1.
Correct.
So I understand what you're saying. So I mean, let's take it to 44 then. But no, I mean, plenty of us make it past 25. Plenty of us make it past 25, and it's sad. I mean, our life expectancy, of course, is lower than most people in this country, but that's done by design. You know, when we talk about parents and these rappers, and you mentioned the producers earlier. We were on this discussion a while back, and brother was saying, you know, you got to get on the rappers and the producers. They got to stop producing. And he talked about this one producer who stopped producing that type of music, and all they did was just stop playing this music. These rappers, when they go to jail or die, like we've been talking about, or get assassinated or killed, or say, I'm gonna be conscious now. I'm not making music, dropping in-bombs from our people anymore, calling my sisters B's and H's, or telling us to kill each other. They just, okay, well, we're not gonna play you no more. We'll find somebody that will, because it don't take much talent to rap. Obviously, when we just talked about Unsexy Red, when we see Lil Nas X and some of these other Sheck West and some of these other rappers, and again, I don't hate to call out their names, but even some of the ones that people think are very talented, it's just talking. Brother Jay Keith, if us three made a rap song and they played it 15, 20 times a day, people would start liking it. Yes. They would start liking it. And so it's the industry, it's the music industry, it's the record companies, it's these corporations who fund, it's the prison industrial complex that, again, I've been on him. I'll tell you, he said the truth with this one, Ice Cube, recently, about how these corporations are private prison corporations. Even Meek Mill at the NAACP meeting this summer, he talked about how they push to make this poison. If they don't make the poison, it gets no play. And the thing that's disappointing about cats like that, though, is they know better. They know better, yet they still haven't stopped. Ice Cube has not apologized. If Ice Cube gets up here at these Grammys and apologizes, if NWA apologizes for what they've done, that's the only way I think that would be beneficial to the people. Other than that, this is, again, a major corporation. They're probably like the most respected music awardees, or whatever what you want to call them, but respected award show in the industry, the Grammys. And the Grammys is doing that.
But we won't see Taylor Swift crowd doing that only to collaborate, but we won't see her pushing that type of stuff out.
And I'll say this too. Now it's a little further than the music industry. You know, they took it a little further. They with these social media apps, it goes further than that. You without the music in the background, you'll see families recording their babies, the 5, 6, 4 years old, 3-year-old, cussing or doing things that's out of line, way out of line, and the parents laughing at it, you know, just laughing at them cussing. I mean, I go in the grocery store and this little dude is outrageous, cussing the cashier, going hard on the cashier, and the mama just standing up there laughing, pulling on the mama, fighting the mama, and she's just standing up there laughing like it's funny. I'm like, if I was in Super One, if I was in Super One, cutting up like that, shit, that slap that was coming, it was not nice, you know. But now you have a culture of parents that it's funny to them. It's normal to them.
We seen the Lord Brother Kwabena.
Yeah.
Okay, he's back. He's back. This internet can get dicey sometimes, even when you have that full bandwidth.
No, I ran to go get this book.
Okay.
My comrade wrote this book called "Who Stole the Soul: The Weaponization of Hip Hop" by Bernard Creamer. He's part of our Clear Airways project, and also part of our Elevated Arts and Culture Collective, which is a collective of Africans who create and support conscious art, conscious culture. So that's one of our comrades. But check out his book, "Who Stole the Soul." There's also a book by this media brother in media, been out for quite a while now. It's called Brainwashed by Tom Burrell. So you should check him out too, because they talk about how they brainwash the people. These are books I just had close to me, and this one's called Hip Hop Hypocrisy. If you know Coach Powell, he wrote the book, The 40-Ounce Scandal, dealing with the malt liquor and all that. But this is an excellent book too. My brother Kwesi Ron Harris, the late brother Kwesi Ron Harris, helped collaborate with this book a little bit. But Coach Powell is a bad brother out of Dayton, Ohio, with home all that funk. So he knows music too, but really, really good information in there. So we got to do the research. We got to understand, like you all were saying, it's these corporations who push and promote this crap. We got a campaign going on right now where we're sending these postcards to these corporations who finance this ratchet kill black people music on the radio. McDonald's is one of our, these CEOs. David King is the CEO of Optima Tax Relief. This cat, John Kabinski, whatever his name is the CEO of McDonald's. And so these are postcards that people are sending in to these corporations announcing that we're boycotting them. Because we asked McDonald's years ago, would you buy commercials on a radio station that played music about shooting and killing dogs? And they said no. Then we said, well, why do you buy commercials on radio stations that play music about shooting and killing black people? And they were silent. Yet they kept on buying the commercials. They buy the commercials there today. And that's how these radio stations make money. Rush Limbaugh, before he transitioned years ago, he had disrespected this white girl, Sandra Fluke, college student out of somewhere in DC. So with a matter of 3 days, he lost 14 sponsors. 14 sponsors got away from him. 3 days, called her sluts and stuff like that. They call out women sluts, B's, H's, N's, call for their fathers and their sons and their brothers to be shot and killed constantly, 24/7, 365. And yet these same corporations still buy commercials on radio stations that play that poison. They call our daughters to be dealing with having throat babies. You know, drinking. The baby told them in this one song by Spot 'em Got 'em, I'll piss in the cup until there's lemonade. And they playing this on the radio, and then you have commercials by the likes of these fools.
Right. And you know, our brother, and your, I think that's someone you would lift up, Brother Bob Law. He told us about that. I had a chance to interview him back in the day at KJCB, and he told us about this, the corporate complicity into all of this stuff. And some of us don't pay attention and follow the money. Because when we see the stacks of money what these rappers have, whether it's play money, in most cases it's real money, we got to know, where's all this money coming from? You know, is this real money or it's play money? But some of that money is being circulated in that movement. And where's this money coming from? It's not just from drug game, because you have to be a hell of a drug dealer to have that amount of money. It's coming from the corporates bottom line.
Yeah. Then also, Brother Jay, it's not just about the corporations doing commercials and supporting it too. You have people from our own culture that sit up there on the station and criticize black leaders 24/7 on that same station, on that same station that's promoting promoting that, perpetrating that kind of movement. Our very own black leaders every Saturday. One local one every Saturday.
Yes.
He's on the station, on that media corporation, criticizing African American leaders and activists.
We have a caller. We got that one call. We trying to iron out the kinks. Welcome, caller.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Good morning, you guys.
Good morning.
Hey,
brother.
look here. Y'all having a very, very good, interesting topic this morning. How you doing, Brother Keith?
Pretty good.
Look here. I got a new slogan. Shoot for the stars, not at each other. You know, we are raised up in a violent world with the wars, with the government fighting each other, you know, Democrat Republican Party. You know, we allow our kids to get garbage in and garbage gonna come out.
Yes.
You know, most rappers don't even know their history. You know, because if they would know their history, they would try to rap something different. You take Christian rappers, they don't want to play the Christian rap music because that's not promoting violence in our community, violence in our culture. You know, the justice system then took a whole lot away from parents. You know, you can't correct your kids. If you correct your kids, you're going to jail. If somebody see you slap your kid on the butt, you understand me? They want to say that brutality. You know, so a lot of these rappers, you know, go along to make the money. You know, and yes, they're making money, but look what you're doing to somebody else's mind. You're allowing garbage to go in. You
And
know,
then,
go ahead,
bro-
brother Keith.
brother Wallace, then the thing of it is, what they're doing is they're making the money, but then they got to give it right back to the system.
Yeah,
Because they got to give it to the they got to give it to the undertakers to bury to bury you, or
yeah,
when something happened, you got to give it to the justice system, because you got to be able to afford a lawyer. And you got to be able to pay that restitution, so they're making it and giving it right back.
Or the record company that might have that hidden policy, life insurance policy on you. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, and the jewelers where they buying all that wasteful,
Yeah, that bling. Yeah.
all them jewels stolen from their mama land. Like you said, they don't know their history. And you mentioned Bob Law. Bob Law shared with us. He's one of the leaders in the National Black Leadership Alliance, of which we work closely with us with the Clear the Airways Project. But Bob Law says that the reason why they drop so many N bombs in their music is that's to assure their European handlers that they aren't talking about sexually assaulting their daughters, that they aren't talking about shooting and killing their sons. So shout out our brother.
right.
Bob. And if you get a chance to check out, right now he's going through some health challenges himself, him and his wife. And so check out his Facebook page. We're trying to do something to help support our brother, who has been so very supportive of us for so many years with Night Talk and again his continued work. So check out just Bob Law on Facebook and you can see information about it. Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
not just that. You turn the TV on, you got all these uppity stations. Everybody is promoting gun violence, you know, and they're promoting gun violence to where that get in some of these kids' head and go and start doing it. They're not just having guys shooting guys now; they having girls or
Oh yeah.
women shooting each
Oh
other.
yeah. Oh
And
yeah. And then you got these women that think they guys, especially in our culture, think they guys try to go up against a
oh yeah,
male,
mhm.
and the color purple too. Uh,
That's another. That'd probably
brother,
be another show, brother Key. Because you know what, time is
time,
winding
yeah,
down.
time and winding down, but
I want
I
to
just
just
want to say
acknowledge
that,
the
brother
community
Kwabena
uh, and
But
mentioned
just
it.
remember,
let people know to watch every other Tuesday on this station. Go ahead.
yeah, but just remember, shoot for the stars, not at each other.
Thank you so
Because
much.
every time we shoot at each other, we taking a precious life away from our culture. So,
Two of
hey,
them.
you guys are having a great show. You know, I uh, I like what I'm hearing. I'm glad that I was able to be a part of it to state my case. But I'm a promote that. Shoot for the stars, not at each other.
Thank you so
All
much.
right. Hey, you guys have a blessed day.
Thank you so much, brother Wallace.
Thank you, brother.
Thank
And
you, brother.
brother Kwabena, I don't know if we probably we going off the air off of Cox right now. I'm gonna thank them and AOC Community Media and LUS Fiber for having us on. But any words of wisdom you want to offer the South Louisiana community before we get off of their platform?
Yeah, with all this negative stuff we talked about, we're optimistic. We remain optimistic if the people organize, the people put in that work. Check out what your children are listening to. Understand the importance of culture. Culture is a people's way of life. It has to do with how we prepare for our unborn to how we bury our dead and everything in between. And music plays such an important role in our culture. Right now, our culture has been controlled by others who obviously are fearful of us or evidently hate us. So join our movement, Clear the Airways Project. Check us out at cleartheairwavesproject.org. And that's waves as in WAVES. Or also check us out on Facebook. Get with the FCC, get with your local legislators, and have them have the FCC do their job and enforce their decency standards to put a stop to this madness. They don't do it to nobody else but African children and youth, and we have to put a stop to it. They're not going to stop it on their own. We have to organize and make them stop.
And I'm sorry we had this short amount of time, but we will bring you. Don't be a stranger, brother. We'll get you back up on the air, and you have so much wisdom to acknowledge us, and we really appreciate the work you're doing.
And Brother Jay, before we close, I'm gonna try to get your hands on Patrick Henry, the Southern Soul artist. He has a new a song out in the gospel world called "Stop the Violence, Put the Guns Down," and I'm gonna try to get you that
I wanted to
track, and I'm gonna try to get it to you, Kwabena, Brother Kwabena. I'm gonna get it to you. I'm gonna try to get a audio copy of it.
Okay.
All right, brother. We're gonna log off now, and we'll holler at each other. All right.
Yeah. Thank y'all for tuning in. Remember, we're gonna be right back here next Tuesday, following Tuesday, not next Tuesday, but the following Tuesday.
Thank you so much.